Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Globe episode 2 from DotDotNews. I'm Elris and I'll be the moderator for today. IB results have just released and soon will be the other exams results. Today we're very honored to have Karen and Charles from the US to share their unique experience with us. Let's see what they have to say. Karen and Charles, thank you for staying late for me. It's in the evening, 10 p.m. for you guys. Since you both are from the US, did you both take the SAT or ACT? Can you briefly tell us about yourself, the major or degree that you take in uni, and whether or not you regretted being in your uni or being in that major?
At BC, I studied business management and I have a bachelor's of science degree. And I don't regret it.
I went to Washington University in St. Louis and I got a finance degree. I don't regret it, and it was certainly a lot of stress going in to take the exams and trying to pick what college, but in the end it all works out, and be positive along the way, and it's a lot of fun.
Any tips for people that are going into uni right now?
Charles, you want to go?
Yeah, so I think when you're trying to pick a major, it's always important to, it's nice to take advice from other people. It's nice to take advice from your parents, but at the end of the day, it's you who has to go to school and go through the program and through the curriculum. So, at the end of the day, you want to pick something that you find interesting, and where if you have to go through the coursework, you're not going to be bored. You're going to be passionate about it, and you're actually going to, put your best effort forward. So I think that's important, is just to make sure you follow what you're, most passionate about.
I think for me, at BC, we're able to switch majors if we find that, the one that we currently chose wasn't the right path for us. So my advice would be to pick a major that is applicable to any industry or career path. So for instance, in my case, I thought business was a very versatile degree.
Do you guys have anything to say about the fraternities and sororities in the US? Because we have a lot of rumors here in Asia that, you have to have a lot of interviews by people who were in there to get into the club.
There's only one way you're going to get into this fraternity. Doing exactly what your pledge master said. Do I make myself clear? Yes, sir.
And, there's a lot of juicy information that we have here. So, do you have anything to spill?
I think Charles has the juicy information. He's smiling so big. We don't. Yeah, I was going to say BC doesn't have Greek life because we're a Jesuit school.
What does it mean by Greek life, Karen?
Yeah, so a lot of the organizations kind of have a foothold back to like Greek mythology and things like that. The Greek philosophers and the idea of thinking it's not just all party and drinking like it gets portrayed in the movies, right? It's supposed to challenge you as well, on your thought processes and things like that. So that's why they call it Greek life, as a lot of the organizations are identified by Greek letters from the Greek alphabet, and then, have a lot of values and foundations based upon Greek mythology. At WashU, we are not a non-denominational school, so, we are not a Catholic school like BC. So we did have Greek life. I joined Sigma Phi Epsilon here, and I had a lot of fun. It certainly is a process going about, doing interviews, doing kind of what they call the rush process, and going around finding different fraternities. But, thankfully, on my campus, I would say there was a good diversity in the organizations where, no matter kind of what your background was or your interest, there was certainly a few options. Some people say, fraternity is always, everybody's from Boston and they all went to the same high school and, they all do the same sport. I'd say, thankfully, at least where I went to school, that wasn't the case, at least for the fraternity that I joined. It was much more people who I'd say you'd look at them, they're diverse people from different countries, different backgrounds, different parents doing different things. But I'd say that kind of one thing we did share in common was a lot of our values and, what we held. So, some, common values that people can come, from diverse backgrounds can come around and, find a way to live together and have a good time.
So international students can join as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any specific memorable experience or events that happened in your sorority that you want to share?
My fraternity. So sororities are usually for women, and then the fraternities are fun. Okay. But no, it's all good. I'm trying to think. So a good memory actually that I have is a fun one. The fraternity that I'm a part of, the national organization, in the summertime puts on a leadership academy for you apply to it, and the kind of usually 100 to 150 fraternity members from around the country get accepted to go to a university for a week, and they do a leadership academy where they bring in alumni and other various people to come in and teach you leadership skills.
Speaking of professors, do you know how some students used to go to websites like ratemyprofessor.com, and for us it will be USG Space, to research about the professor?
I think that's crazy to try to impress your professor, but it's smart. So I did it freshman year. I didn't look them up to impress them. I looked them up so I can be prepared to know what they're expecting of me. And then, so I did that freshman year, and then eventually I just stopped for two reasons. One, I wanted to learn and experience the class from what I was getting, right? So not, learning from other people's words. And then two, eventually I just got lazy. So I was like, it's fine, this will be okay. So that's my experience with it. And then as for my favorite professor, I have one. I met him senior year, and he was my strategic management professor. And he noticed that I was struggling my senior year. And so he put a lot of effort in trying to help me grow and mentor me. And so I really appreciated that. And then he checked in on me the other day. So that's always nice.
Yeah. Charles?
Oh, and then he came I invited him to our wedding at the courthouse. So he was there too.
He was one of them, because I know you have a really small group of people celebrating your wedding, because it's just
Yeah, because we can only allow 6 or 9 people, and he was one of them.
Oh, that's nice.
My internships was one of my professors. I was talking with her on, suggestions on how to look for an internship and learn more, and she suggested I go on LinkedIn and start finding alumni from my university who worked at companies that I was interested in. And I found an alumnus who worked at a company that I was interested in, and the alumnus was connected with another one of my professors. So I reached out to that professor to make the formal introduction to this fellow. And since that introduction, I got an internship, 2 summer internships, and those turned into a full-time job. So, relationships with professors, especially ones that are very well connected with the industry, are very important to have.
Good for you. Imagining you're graduating, is there anything that you done particularly memorable before graduating? Would you suggest last year students to do before graduating?
I think people should, also take the time to stop and smell the roses, right? And go off the beaten path and do things that you may not have expected to do, right? So for example, senior year, I met my husband. I didn't think that would happen, but it did, and I went with it, and now I'm married, and it's great, and I'm super happy.
I'm super happy for you too. Charles, is there anything that you learned from uni that is particularly useful now that you have been working for 1 or 2 years?
Oh, Goodness. So yeah, there certainly are things. So I'll have an ode class I took when I was at UST that was deal making in Asia and emerging markets, and the class really taught me how to go about a negotiation. How do you think about coming to an outcome that is agreeable for both parties, but also it the class covered too, sometimes it's okay not to come to an agreement, right? Because you may not know where the other side's coming from, and if they can't just come to an area that's also works for you, don't feel like you have to go out of your way to make a deal happen just because you feel like that has to be the result. And so that's certainly something that I've learned.
What I got from university was learning how to work in diverse spaces, right? I think that, so my concentration was in social impact. And so we talk about diversity a lot, and that includes age. So in college, I'm around everyone my age, and now I'm working with people who are like 50 and 60.
Now that you have been working, going back in 4 or 5 years, what would you have say to yourself, a freshman, Charles and Karen? Is there anything they would say, any advice, suggestions, tips for your young self?
Yeah, so I think freshman year or even like senior year of high school, I would tell myself to stop stressing myself out.
Even now, Karen.
Yeah, seriously, because I think that life will always have its own stresses, right? And I think that sometimes people can be their worst enemies when it comes to life challenges. And so I think that advice would be given to me.
I like that advice. We all need that.
I think advice back to myself 5 years ago, two big nuggets. One, it goes by, it may be cliche, but it goes by super fast. You don't realize it. It does. It goes by really, really fast. When you're a freshman, don't think you'll know what you want to do in 4 years. Have an open mind, explore, what makes you happy. And, at the end of university, you'll be on a solid path. Don't think that you have to have all 4 years, planned out to the hour.
For me, my advice for my younger self would be, don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to be different, and never settle to just blend in. I feel like, especially in Hong Kong, people are so judgmental. They judge you for pretty much everything. Different is beautiful. You won't regret it when you're older, because looking back, you'll be like, oh, I'm glad that I've done that. I think that's about it for today. So thank you so much for sharing your experience. I just love that, like traveling back in time and uni days. I'm glad that we are all doing well in our life right now, and don't stress. So yeah, and be healthy. Thank you, you both. I'll call you guys, text you guys again soon. Thank you all for watching as well. Uni is no doubt one of your most memorable time in your life. So just enjoy, trust yourself, and you will figure things out. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can always go back and watch our first episode on food. See you soon.